What is going on, YouTube? It is Primitive here, and today I'm going to be bringing you another BT10 decklist profile. Today I'm going to be bringing you Blue Flare, a deck that is very anticipated in this format, except bringing my own little take on it. Now, normal Blue Flare is a deck that I have been incredibly unimpressed with, something that I have felt is way weaker than what my expectations were leading up into the metagame, but it was still something where the Metal Greymon package felt so powerful that I felt like if you were just able to give it a little bit more of a backbone, give it a little bit more solid of a game plan, that the deck could flourish very well. And so did go with the GabuBond package because it feels like in the past GabuBond has paired very well with the blue hybrids because of the stall mechanic, and Metal Greymon does have a very strong stall mechanic in itself with its Digicross on play effect, and being able to pair that with it being aggressive in itself makes it for a very good combo with the GabuBond. You have two very defensive and offensive cores together in a way that synergize very well. So as always, we will get into the list and I will break down the deck one by one. So let's get on into it. Alright, so with the Digitama, we're going to start off with the 4 Upamon because it is just one of the more consistent eggs. Being able to attack and draw one helps very well, especially because we have a decent amount of source strip in the list, and so making it so your opponent has no has no Digivolution sources is relatively easy, and also decks like Crossheart already kind of play a lot of things that don't have sources, and so you're going to be able to get the draw off of that. And then we do want a 5th egg because this is a deck where you want to be kind of promoting as much as possible, so you can get through to your 5th egg. And so we are going to go with Kiaramon because it is another draw effect. You could go with the new Babydomon, but I feel like the Kiaramon is a little bit more in your control because of the amount of Digivolution source or Digisource trashing that we have. So I do just like the Kiaramon over the new Babydomon. Now, getting on into the rookies, we are playing 11 Gabumon, 4 of the draw Gabu. This is just because it's cycle. It is on play, draw 1, and then you can swing it in and get a check. So this card is very powerful. 4 of the BT6 Gabumon because it is going to give us that extra swing with Bond of Friendship, which is very big. And also it has the alterns. When you play a mat, you will be able to gain a memory. So this helps because if you have this sitting out on the board and then somebody swings into like a mat in security, you do get to gain a memory, which can be very annoying for them. But mostly the inheritable, we're playing it at 4. And then we have the 3 EX1 Gabu, mainly because it is going to be able to search out our mats and our GabuBond, but also being able to find our other Tamers, or just being able to find other Gabumon rookies, so that way we have something to put in Raising or whatever, is very nice. EX1 Gabu is just a very strong consistency card in these GabuBond style lists, and so it's pretty much a key card that I always put in here. And then to finish off the rookies, we are only playing 2 of the BT10 Gaussmon, and now this is probably the biggest surprise to most people is why would we only be playing 2 of this and not 4 or more? And that's just because this card is pretty weak when you add a bunch of Gabumons in. We are mostly just focusing on the Metal Greymon package, so we're going to be having the Greymon and the Male Birdmon in our hands to be able to play the Metal Greymon. Now, the Gaussmon being able to play out the Greymon to get a search is nice at times. With the Male Birdmon, it feels almost irrelevant when doing it, and so I wanted to keep the rookie base as Gabumon focused as possible, so that way we can pair it up with our Matt Ashidas and get as much value as possible. But Gaussmon is still good enough of a rookie to where I did consider playing it. I wanted to play a higher rookie count, and so instead of playing 4, 4, and 4 with the Gabus, I did cut one of the EX1 Gabus, and I had an extra slot, and I added in the 2 Gaussmon so we can go up in rookies, but still, it just feels, when you add the Gabumons, this rookie feels much, much weaker than it would in just a full kind of Blue Flare base list where you're playing things like Madoki or whatever in the rookie slot. So we're just playing this at 2, just so sometimes we can play a champion, but like I said, it feels a little outclassed. Now, getting on into the champions, we, of course, are going to have our Blue Flare champion. So starting off with Greymon. We need this for the Metal Greymon Digicross, and then also as on play, you can reveal the top 4, add 2 cards of Blue Flare in their traits, and then if you have the Blue Flare Tamer in play, you can add a Metal Greymon from your trash to your hand instead, and that is very useful because if you need to start getting a Metal Greymon, you don't have one in hand, but you had one maybe get checked in security, so there's one in there. You can get the on play to get that into your hand. When this Greymon gets deleted, you will be able to save it underneath one of your Tamers, and then you can use that for the Digicross later for the Metal Greymon. So this card is very key. And then, of course, if you have Blue Flare in his traits, your opponent has 2 or more Digimon in play, you get to unsuspend this Digimon, which is very key because we want to be able to get as much checks as possible. This paired with Bond of Friendship gives us a lot of unsuspend potential. Then we're playing one Digimon. Digimon is a card where I don't feel like it is extremely powerful if you're not playing a kind of full blue flare oriented list where you have Decker Greymon. But this is still a nice on play, draw a bunch of cards because you get to draw one and then you draw one for each of your opponent's Digimon. So, I mean, I've had times where I've drawn, you know, you go for something like a Innocence Blizzard to stun a pretty good amount of the board after you've swung with Metal Greymon, so you have 4 or 5 Digimon on your opponent's side of the field stunned. Pass turn with a Decker-Dramon, and you'll be able to draw 5, 6 cards. It is very, very nice. Without the Decker Greymon, it feels not as necessary, though, so this is basically just a one-of strictly for the draw power of it, because there are times where drawing that many cards is going to just give you all the pieces you need, and then next turn you pop off with Bond of Friendship. And then, of course, we're playing the 4 Male Birdmon. We're going to need this, again, for the Metal Greymon Digicross. And then it is nice to be able to, early game, if you don't have one of your Tamers out, being able to play one for free. But mostly this card is not that great. You can get the on play to grab back another Metal Greymon, which works with the just like the other Greymon, except this is a 5 to play cost. That's where the Greymon is a 4 to play cost. So unless you get this off of Gaussmon, a lot of the times you just kind of keep Male Birdmon in your hand for whenever you go for that Digicross. It's not the most key card, but you still want to play 4 and 4 of these just so you have highest consistency with your Metal Greymons. Next up, we got the 2 Kumamons just as our kind of hybrid for game. We are playing a decent amount of Tamers, so being able to hybrid is nice. And this is the hybrid that does strip bottom Digivolution sources. So again, pairing with the source strip that we have to make it so that way you can stun more with Metal Greymon or get some stun going with things like Innocence Blizzard. So Kumamon, just kind of standard hybrid. And then to finish off the champions, we are playing 2 Leomon. Now, Leomon is a card that I have considered going up in if I were to cut the Decker-Dramon to go up to 3 of this, because this card is very, very good versus things like Crossheart, for example, because a lot of them aren't playing as many memory tamers, and so being able to kind of put them at 1 with a Leomon out, so that way if they swing, you can kind of pass turn back while also drawing one. But also, it's just nice because even if they do have a memory tamer go to 3, if you're gaining 2 memory off of the Leomon, then that means that they can only play X4 so many times because they are going to have to pay at least 1 memory to on-play it if they have all 4 of the Digicross sources. So Leomon is just a nice blocker. It's good cycle because you get draw off of it, and it's just pretty good into the metagame right now. Being able to be a blocker that gains memory just makes things so annoying for your opponent. Ultimates, we are just playing the 4 Metal Greymon. That is all we are really looking for here. Just being able to go with the cycle of Metal Greymon, be able to get the aggression of the Metal Greymon, be able to get the stun of the Metal Greymon, and the fact that we can play this essentially for 3 is just super insane. This card just works. This is really just blue flare, in my opinion, is Metal Greymon. Metal Greymon is so incredibly powerful, and so I really wanted to make a deck to where this kind of Metal Greymon, Greymon, and Meldrimon are going to work more realistically, and the standard blue flare right now I don't think is it. And then to finish off the Digimon, we are just playing the 3 GabuBond Bond of Friendship, just so we can go into Bond. You know, we are playing the Bond package, so playing it at 3 for highest consistency. You could consider going down to 2 if you did want to find more room, but at that point, I think you would have to make a couple other choices, like playing things like Blue Memory Boost or maybe Davis and stuff like that, so you can cycle a little bit more if you were to go down to 2, so I'm just playing it at 3. Now to get into the options, starting off with our Memory Boost, we have 3 of the new Blazing Memory Boost. This card's just insane. Reveal top 6, add 2 blue flares to your hand, and then play the blue flare tamer for free. So you get a memory tamer out and 2 cards to your hand for 5, and then you get a delay to gain 2 later. This card is just very, very insane. We are auto playing this in any deck we're playing blue flare. And then I also am playing 1 Howling Memory Boost. I was playing this as 1 Blue Memory Boost for a search, but I think Howling goes a little bit better with the game plan of this build. And so it's just 3 strip sources, stun, delay later. Mainly just kind of wanted another memory boost, but I felt like 4 of the Blazing Memory Boost was too much since we are playing less blue flare cards. So decided to go with the 1 Howling Memory Boost to fit that slot. The card is just very, very powerful. Then we got 3 Innocence Blizzard. We are stripping a lot of sources, and in matchups like Crossheart, Innocence Blizzard is very strong. I was playing this at 2 and then very quickly went up to 3. I kind of thought this card wasn't going to be as good. The more I played it, Innocence Blizzard has been very, very strong. an insane security trigger. Just being able to trash sources even if you don't stun anything in this metagame is very strong because of how many things want to save and go under Tamers. So once they play those materials from the Tamers under their Digimon, you can start stripping their sources. Then they can't recycle those again. They're going to get put in trash because you're stripping the sources and not material saving. So just that itself is very strong, being able to strip from everything. But the stun, being able to mass stun up to 3 things and then pair that with Metal Greymon has just been so strong. And then to finish off the options, we are playing 1 Ice Wall, of course. Shout out Team Ice Wall. Standard for the deck, just a very, very strong card. Now to finish off the deck, we are getting into the Tamer. So we are going to play 3 of the Kuriha. I think that's how I'm saying it, but I'll just refer to it as the Blue Flare Tamer. Memory Tamer, and then we can suspend it to use the sources underneath your Tamers as Digicross requirements. So when you are saving your male Birdramon and your Greymons, you will be able to use them for your Metal Greymon instead of having to have them in your hand. So on top of a Memory Tamer, this is very crucial. This is why we're playing it over something like Davis. Then we're playing 2 Sorojo because we want to be stripping a bunch of sources, as well as being able to gain extra memory is very nice. But when you're trying to strip a bunch of sources and stun with Metal Greymon, being able to promote something out, swing, suspend Sorojo to strip sources makes it much easier to then Digicross play into your Metal Greymon and then stun 3 things on the board because they have much less sources. So Sorojo works very, very well with this deck. And then, of course, to finish it off, we are playing 4 Mat because we are playing the GabuBond package. You want to be able to gain the memory off of this and draw the cards when you promote. That's going to be very huge. It's what's helped up the consistency of this deck by a ton, in my opinion. And then also we need this to be able to warp up into our Bond of Friendship, so that way we can be able to go for those game winning swings. But that is going to be the list. Blue Flare, GabuBond. Now, this is a list that I'm sure some people are going to enjoy. Some people maybe not as much because not everybody's going to share the same opinion that I have on Blue Flare right now. And it is a deck that I'm going to have to play a little bit more of, and maybe it'll grow on me a little bit more. But for now, this is the list that I found that is doing the best for Blue Flare. It makes it really feel like the Metal Greymon actually does something in a deck that has a backbone instead of just being in a deck that just kind of willy-nilly's its way through the game and sometimes wins. I feel like this gives it a much stronger game plan. So if you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know down below what you like about this deck, what you don't like about this deck. But with that being said, I'll catch you next time. Hope you have a fantastic day. Peace out.